how to prepare a resolution plan as per section 30 of the IBC code 2016. This is the topic that we have for today's session, friends. We are on 8th day, and so far we have covered 7 different topics, and all these topics, video recordings of all these topics are available on the Facebook page of uh, the Pune Business School of Pimpri Chinchwad Education Trust. So, in case if any one of you has missed any of those sessions in the past, you can go to the Facebook page of PCET's Business School, and you will be able to view it. Friends, I'm sure and I'm aware that today on the in the audience, I have a mixed audience. So when I say I have a mixed audience, what does it mean? It means I know many of you are already practicing as insolvency professional, and it is quite likely that some of you may have already have had the opportunity of making an information memorandum, and also either making a resolution plan or helping someone in making the resolution plan or accepting, reviewing a resolution plan submitted by a resolution applicant. I'm also aware that in the audience today, there are many who are aspiring to become insolvency professional, or they have just qualified as insolvency professional, and they are keen to know as to what is this resolution proposal and what is the significance of a resolution proposal and how to go about making this resolution proposal, and what role an insolvency professional has in the use of the resolution plan. Now, friends, with this background, let's look at as to what is the purpose of this session that we have today. Now, I'm sure all of you are aware of the IBC code already. And when you talk of IBC code, for those of you who are still to qualify the IBC exam and who would certainly like to know as to what this IBC is, very quickly, friends, IBC is a new law which has come in force from 1st May 2016, and this law has been brought by the government for the purpose of ensuring, and please pay attention because this is very important, for the purpose of ensuring that all the bad assets which are there in the country are brought back into the economic stream of the country, so that these assets start adding value to the economy. Now, how will that happen? How will that happen? That is what we need to understand at the outset before we come to the point of how to prepare a resolution plan. So under the IBC, what you have, a company which has become insolvent, or which is on the verge of becoming insolvent, or which is not at all today a solvent company. That means this company is not able to take care of its financial obligations towards the operational creditors and towards the financial creditors. So before this company becomes sick and closed down, this company has to pass through the process of CIRP, which is Corporate Insolvency Resolution Process. That means what? That means this company has to go to NCLT. NCLT will appoint a person as an insolvency professional, and this insolvency professional, who is a qualified person who has passed the exam of insolvency and bankruptcy code, this person has got the responsibility of ensuring that insolvency of this company is resolved. अब आप समझ सकते हैं कि इंसॉल्वेंसी रिजॉल्व कैसे होगी. Will it happen by itself or something has to be done? Obviously, something has to be done. So, what has to be done is, number one, we need to understand what is the meaning of insolvency or the company which is heading towards insolvency. And number two, we will need to understand what is the meaning of resolution of the insolvency. So, first thing first. देखिए इंसॉल्वेंसी का मतलब क्या है. इंसॉल्वेंसी का मतलब ये है कि हियर इज अ कंपनी and this company, for whatever reason, for the operational reasons or for the financial reasons, is running into financial difficulty. And what is the financial difficulty? The financial difficulty is this company does not have enough cash to pay to its creditors, and which is operational creditors as well as the financial creditors. And since the company is not able to pay money to the financial creditors and the operational creditors, this company obviously is feeling the pinch of working capital, and that means the company does not have enough money to run its operations. So obviously, if the company does not have money for its working capital, what is going to happen? This company sooner than later is going to close down, and that is the process, that is the impending insolvency in case of a company. What is the meaning of resolution of insolvency? Friends, the meaning of a resolution of insolvency is that somebody must come into this company from outside, and this person should have the capability, competence, ability, resources, managerial strength, financial strength. Using all those strengths, this person should be able to turn this company, which is having impending insolvency, to turn it around. So what is the meaning of turn it around? The meaning of turn it around is कि ये जो resolution applicant है, somebody who is wanting to turn this company around, he should be able to use all his strength and make sure कि ये जो company जो कि बंद होने के कगार पर है, this company which is on the verge of closure, he should be able to, with his resources, turn this company around, ensure that the company becomes operational, companies, all the hitches, all the roadblocks, all the barriers, all the problems and hardships, financial as well as the operationals, are removed. As a result of this, company becomes operational. Not only the company becomes operational, but company also becomes profitable. And when the company becomes profitable, that means the company will be able to take care of its financial obligations as well as the as well as the operating obligations. So friends, this is the meaning of insolvency, impending insolvency, and the meaning of insolvency resolution. और ये बैकग्राउंड हम सबके दिमाग में एकदम क्लियर होना चाहिए, because unless and until this background is clear in the minds of every one of us, it would be very difficult for us to understand as to how to prepare a resolution plan. And I'm sure एक बार ये आपके दिमाग में अंडरस्टैंडिंग क्लियर हो जाए कि भाई इंसॉल्वेंसी क्या है, इंसॉल्वेंसी का रेजोल्यूशन क्या है, तो ऑटोमेटिकली आप ये समझ पाएंगे कि रेजोल्यूशन प्लान का मतलब क्या है और रेजोल्यूशन प्लान को कैसे तैयार किया जाता है, हाउ टू प्रिपेयर अ रेजोल्यूशन प्लान. विद दिस बैकग्राउंड, दिस पर्पस, we move forward. And what I'm going to cover, friends, in this session, I'm going to cover many things in this program today. First of all, we would look at technically as to what are the provisions under the insolvency and bankruptcy code as regards to the resolution plan. Then we would also look at the regulations from 35 to 39 of chapter 10 of the CIRP regulations 2016, because it is the chapter 10 of CIRP regulation 2016 that speaks of various aspects as regards preparation and approval of the resolution plan. And friends, here I would like to mention and compliment IBBI, because IBBI from time to time has been bringing out so many regulations proactively, changing them, amending them as and when the need arises, as much as even the IBC code has also been amended many times just to ensure that all the concerns of all the stakeholders in this environment of insolvency and bankruptcy are duly taken care of. So having done that, then friends, we will look at contents of an illustrative resolution plan. तो ऐसा नहीं कि मैं आपको theoretically खाली ये बताऊंगा कि resolution plan क्या है और resolution plan कैसे बनाया जाता है, but I am also going to share with you an illustrative resolution plan where I would be sharing with you as to what all information a resolution plan needs to have. अब देखिए और समझ के लीजिए, रेजोल्यूशन प्लान एक फॉर्मेलिटी नहीं है. रेजोल्यूशन प्लान एक बहुत ही क्रिटिकल एंड इम्पोर्टेंट डॉक्यूमेंट है. रेजोल्यूशन प्लान क्या है? रेजोल्यूशन प्लान एक कंपनी का ब्लूप्रिंट है. किस चीज का ब्लूप्रिंट है? रेजोल्यूशन प्लान इज द ब्लूप्रिंट ऑफ अ कंपनी to convert a company which is on the verge of closure to make this company a vibrant company. That is the significance of resolution plan, and I'm sure you can understand. You can understand. That means what? That means a resolution plan has to be extremely comprehensive. It has to be not only extremely comprehensive, but it has to be prepared in a way so that when this plan is submitted by a person who is referred in the code as resolution applicant, when this plan is submitted by the resolution applicant to the resolution professional, now that resolution professional RP should be able to understand, appreciate and comprehend this plan very quickly. Why is that required? Because only when the resolution professional is able to understand, only when the resolution professional is able to understand the resolution plan comprehensively, then only he would be able to find it worth its while and place it before the COC. Apprise the COC of the resolution plan, the salient features of the resolution plan, so that COC should be able to approve it. And only after when this resolution plan is approved by the COC, the resolution professional RP will file it with the adjudicating authority, which is NCLT, and NCLT of course then will approve it or reject it depending on what view they take. So this is the plan, friends. I have already given you a summary of the entire thing, and it's my request to all of you, keep this summary in your mind always, not only when we are having this session but otherwise also, because once you are clear about these aspects, then your understanding of resolution plan becomes very clear. Not only your understanding becomes very clear about the resolution plan, but you should also be able to automatically think कि अगर मुझे एक रेजोल्यूशन प्लान बनाना है तो मुझे उसमें क्या क्या इन्फॉर्मेशन डालना चाहिए और क्यों वो इन्फॉर्मेशन डालना चाहिए. वो इन्फॉर्मेशन इसलिए डालना चाहिए ताकि जो रेजोल्यूशन प्रोफेशनल है वो मेरे प्लान को अप्रिशिएट कर सके, समझ सके और उसके ऊपर डिसीजन ले सके. लाइकवाइज अगर आप रेजोल्यूशन प्रोफेशनल हैं और आपके सामने एक रेजोल्यूशन प्लान आ रहा है, you should be able to quickly appreciate it and take a decision based on this. So friends, with this background, let us move forward and we look at the legal provisions, that is section 30 of the IBC code, as to what are the provisions as per the section 30 of the IBC code, which is regarding the resolution professional, and also we look at section 31, which is Yes, friends. Sometimes the voice can break because sometimes signals are low. So, in case if you experience any such thing, then I would request you to raise your hand, any one of you, or put a message in the chat box. I will just I'll just stop for 5-10 seconds because my experience is कि 5-10 सेकंड के बाद सिग्नल वापस स्ट्रॉन्ग हो जाता है. And of course friends, need I mention what you should also do? Any question that you have on whatever we are discussing, please keep noting down all your questions in the chat box. And at the end of, before we close, I would request at the end of the session to Krishna to read those questions out, and we would also answer all those questions that you write in the chat box. So right, so with this, let's move ahead, friends, and with this plan, let us look at section 31, and before that we look at section 30. So this is section 30 is the section as per the IBC code, and according to section 30, number 1, the resolution applicant has to submit a resolution plan along with an affidavit about eligibility as per section 29A. So remember, you know who is a resolution applicant? A resolution applicant is someone who is interested in taking this corporate debtor which is undergoing the insolvency resolution process and put his money and resources to turn this corporate debtor around. Now, so the resolution applicant RA has to submit his resolution plan, and together with the resolution plan, he also has to submit an affidavit under section 29A. And what is section 29A? Section 29A puts certain restrictions on certain people who are not eligible to submit a resolution plan. So only a person who is eligible to submit a resolution plan as per section 29A, he only can submit a resolution plan, and therefore the resolution applicant has to submit an affidavit confirming that he is eligible as per section 29A to submit this resolution plan. Now, what the resolution professional will do, a resolution professional will examine this resolution proposal or resolution plan, and after he is convinced about the workability of the resolution plan, then he will put it up before the COC, which is the committee of the creditors. Committee of the creditors will of course examine it further, and if the committee of creditors is convinced about the workability and the feasibility of the resolution plan, then they will approve it with a vote of not less than 66%. So this is the requirement as far as the IBC code is concerned for the approval of a resolution plan. Now, this meeting in which the COC is approving or is reviewing or is considering the resolution plan, this meeting can be attended by the resolution applicant. Only thing, he will not have a voting right, obviously, because the voting right of the COC are restricted only to the COC members only. And after the plan is approved by the COC, then the resolution professional will submit the application with the NCLT, which is the adjudicating authority, for its approval. So this is your section 30. Now then we go to the section 31, and that is regarding the approval of resolution plan. So once the resolution plan, which is approved by the COC and applied to the adjudicating authority by the resolution professional, the adjudicating authority, if they find and if they are satisfied with the resolution plan, they will approve it. And if they approve it, then it is going to be binding on everyone, all the stakeholders, including the central government, the state government, and also the local authority. Now, the adjudicating authority, if it is not satisfied, that is NCLT, if it is not satisfied, then it can reject also. Now, once the resolution plan is approved by the adjudicating authority, then it becomes binding. Plus, once it is approved by the adjudicating authority, the moratorium period, which is announced as per section 14 of the IBC, that moratorium period ceases to exist, and from that day the company's resolution, the real resolution, starts. And in which case the resolution plan, the professional has to submit forward all the related documents, whatever they may be, to the board. And once the plan is approved by the NCLT, then the resolution applicant, the company or the person or the group or the entity or the or whatever consortium which has bid for which has successfully bid for the resolution of the corporate debtor, they will have to start working, start obtaining necessary approvals within a period of 1 year. So these are the provisions with regard to the resolution proposal, a resolution plan under section 30 and section 31. Then friends, as far as the structuring of the resolution plan is concerned, we have to go to chapter 10. Chapter 10 of the CIRP regulation of 2016. And there are certain regulations which are given in this chapter 10. Number one is regulation number 35, which says that the resolution professional or the insolvency, the resolution professional will appoint two valuer for finding out the fair value and the liquidation value. Then there is a section, the regulation 35A, that talks about the preferential and other transactions. So it is the responsibility under section 43, 45, 50 and 66 of the IBC code. It is the responsibility to find of the insolvency professional or the resolution professional to ascertain. There are 4 different categories of transactions which are referred as PUFE, So preferential transactions, undervalued transactions, fraudulent transactions, and extortionate transactions. So the resolution professional has a responsibility to identify and ascertain if, in case of the corporate debtor, there are these 4 types of transactions that have occurred. He has to note them, he has to ascertain them. And why he has to ascertain? Because when you analyze these 4 types of transactions, commonly collectively referred as PUFE, these 4 transactions has a reason to put the corporate debtor at unfair disadvantage. And since the corporate debtor is being put to unfair disadvantage, by default all the stakeholders are also at unfair disadvantage. So that means not only the resolution professional has a responsibility to ascertain these 4 types of transactions, but he also has the obligation to apply to the adjudicating authority, and by applying to the adjudicating authority for a reversal or cancellation of all these 4 types of transactions, and bring the position back to as to how it was before these transactions are done. So that is a responsibility which is as per regulation 35. Then there is a regulation 36 that talks about information memorandum, and under section 29 the resolution professional has a responsibility, has an obligation to prepare an information memorandum. And friends, remember, information memorandum is an extremely important document. It is an extremely important document. And why it is an extremely important document? Because it is based on the information covered in the information memorandum. The prospective resolution applicants are going to formulate their resolutions plans to submit to the resolution professional, and that is covered by regulation 36. and Section 29 of the IBC. Now, we already have done one session as to how to prepare information memorandum earlier last week, and therefore, in case if any one of you would like to know as to how information memorandum is to be prepared, we have had a detailed session on that, covering Section 29, covering Regulation 36, and illustrating one information memorandum. So in case if you have missed attending this session, you can go to the Facebook page of PCET's Pune Business School and you can review it. Then Regulation 36A talks about invitation for expression of interest, and this is again an obligation cast upon the resolution professional. That means what? That means the resolution professional has to publish notification in Form G in the newspapers, inviting people for expression of interest. And what is it? It is the people inviting the people who may be interested to submit a resolution plan for turning this company around, and that is the requirement as per Regulation 36A, invitation for expression of interest, and Form G is the form that is to be used for publishing this notification in the newspapers. Then Regulation 36B talks about request for resolution plan. So, once the resolution professional receives the expression of interest, and based on the persons who may have submitted the expression of interest, the resolution plan, the resolution professional will have to give request for resolution plans. That means he will need to request all these people who have expressed interest in submitting their proposal. So he will have to give a detailed document which is referred as request for resolution plan. And then the prospective resolution applicants So then the prospective resolution applicant will prepare their plan, resolution plan. And remember, जिस तरह से information memorandum बहुत critical है in the turning around of a company, in the insolvency resolution of a company, उसी तरह से resolution plan भी उतना ही important है, उतना ही critical है from the point of view of the insolvency resolution of the corporate debtor or the company who is undergoing the insolvency resolution. Why? Because information memorandum gives all the informations about the entity, about the corporate debtor, and the resolution plan is a document that spells out as to what is there in the mind of the resolution applicant. And remember, it is the resolution plan does not tell only as to what is in the mind of the resolution applicant for turning this company around, but it is also a commitment. Because whatever resolution plan that he is submitting, that means he is committing himself to whatever information which is furnished in the resolution plan. And of course, the Regulation 38 of the Chapter 10 specifies the mandatory contents of the resolution plan. That means the resolution plan will have a lot of information. Besides all that information, the resolution plan will also need to have certain information which are mandatory in nature. So we will talk about as to what those informations are. And then finally, of course, the approval of resolution plan will happen as I have mentioned already. So the resolution plans, once it is submitted by the resolution applicant to the resolution professional, the resolution professional will review it. He will submit it to the COC. COC will review it, and if the COC is convinced about it, then with the voting of not less than 66%, they will approve it. So once the COC approves a resolution plan, then the resolution professional will submit it to the NCLT for their approval. And once the NCLT approves a plan, that plan becomes effective. So this is, friends, chapter 10, which I thought you must be aware when it comes to preparation of a resolution plan. These are the PUFE transactions that I have already spoken with you. So section 43 talks in terms of preferential transactions. Section 45 talks about the undervalued transactions. Section 66 talks about the fraudulent trading. Section 50 talks about the extortionate credit transactions. And these transactions are of course critical because these transactions, if they have taken place in case of a corporate debtor, the corporate debtor has been put to an unfair disadvantage, and any unfair disadvantage to a corporator is obviously going to result into unfair disadvantage to the remaining stakeholders of that corporate debtor, and therefore the resolution professional has an obligation to approach the NCLT for reversal or cancellation of all these kind of transactions which he may have ascertained during the process of his running the entity. Now friends, we come to the illustrative resolution. So what we have understood so far. Number one, we have understood as to what is the purpose of insolvency and bankruptcy code. And that purpose is that insolvency and bankruptcy code should help all the bad assets, all the distressed assets, all the companies which are finding it difficult to run their operations, or the companies which are on the verge of closure. All these companies should be revived, brought back into the economic stream of the country so that they start adding value, so that those assets which otherwise are rotting and getting depreciated or getting destroyed, all those assets are brought into the economic mainstream of the country and they start adding the value. We have also understood in this process, ये जो IBC का जो पर्पस है of turning the companies around, उसमें दो चीज़ें बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट हैं, और पहली चीज़ है वो है इंफॉर्मेशन मेमोरेंडम. So the insolvency resolution professional has a task, has a responsibility to ensure once he is appointed as the insolvency professional, he has an obligation to prepare a very comprehensive document which is referred as information memorandum, IAIM in short, and that document has to be very comprehensive. Based on the information memorandum and of course based on their other sources of information, the prospective resolution applicants submit their resolution plan. And remember, this resolution plan, friends, is not merely a document, it's not merely a formality. It is a document, it is a blueprint which is proposed by a resolution applicant as to how he plans to turn this company around. So this resolution plan spells out as to what all he is going to do to ensure that this company which is undergoing insolvency resolution is turned around. So not only it's a blueprint, not only it spells out as to what the resolution applicant is going to do, it also brings out that his commitment, it also confirms his commitment for the resolution of the corporate debtor. Now friends, let's look at as to in reality, in actual life, how a resolution plan should look like or would look like. Remember, what I am discussing with you is only an illustrative resolution plan. It is by no means a comprehensive resolution plan. So ऐसा नहीं है कि जो मैं whatever I am discussing with you is final. It's not that whatever I am sharing with you, nothing more than that is required. No. What I am discussing with you perhaps is the minimum that is what is required. Something more than that, which ultimately going to help the resolution of the company, is most welcome, definitely. So let us look at first of all as to what are the contents of a resolution plan. So what all information a resolution plan will comprise of. So first of all, the definitions. So definitions are, friends, more or less like those definitions which are already part of the IBC code, and anything which the resolution applicant has included in his resolution plan, and that he would like to clarify at the outset to the resolution professional. So that is what he will include as part of the definitions. Then you will have the executive summary of the resolution plan. I'm going to discuss all these points, not only discuss all these points, but also elaborate them as to what all information will need to be given under each of these items. So the second items or second chapter of the resolution plan will be executive summary, and I'm sure you can understand the meaning of executive summary. Then we talk about the profile of the resolution applicant. So obviously जो resolution applicant who's proposing, who is bidding for resolving the insolvency of a corporate debtor, obviously his profile has to be very strong. So when I say his profile has to be very strong, that means he has to exhibit that he has got all the resources, capabilities, competence, technology, and whatever is required to turn a company around. So that is going to be in chapter 3, where it will talk about the profile of the resolution applicant. Then overview of the corporate debtor. So which of course as far as the resolution applicant is concerned, he is already aware of it, but if the resolution applicant is writing something more than what was given in the information memorandum, it speaks that much well for the resolution applicant, because he has been able to bring out something more than what was the part of information memorandum with regard to the corporate debtor. Then key challenges and the trends in the industry. This chapter 6 is going to be on summary of the proposal of the resolution applicant as to what all he plans to do for reviving the company. Details of the proposed resolution and the transaction structure as to what is going to happen and when. What is going to be the business plan. And remember, this is again a very important part of the resolution plan, because ultimately a resolution plan can work only when the business plan is workable. And what is the business plan? The business plan is as to how post acquisition by the resolution applicant, how this company is going to function. So all that will have to be part of the business plan. तो क्या कोई नई टेक्नोलॉजी होगी, क्या कोई नया मार्केट होगा, कैसे क्या कोई नया प्रोडक्ट मिक्स होगा, क्या कुछ प्रोडक्ट में चेंज होगा, क्या कुछ प्राइसिंग में चेंज होगा, क्या कुछ मार्केट मिक्स चेंज होगा, एंड वॉट एवर assumptions that the resolution applicant is making, all that has to be part of the business plan. Then the terms, implementation schedule, and monitoring of the resolution plan will be covered in chapter 9 of the resolution resolution plan. Of course, I'm sure ultimately the plan has to be workable. So उसकी term क्या होगी? That means the resolution plan has to clearly bring out कि according to the resolution applicant, within how much time he would be able to achieving the turnaround of the corporate debtor. That has to be mentioned. What is going to be the implementation schedule? So all those aspects we are going to look. Treatment of various stakeholders. So corporate financial creditor है, operational creditor है, और equity shareholders हैं, employees हैं, workmen हैं. So how he is going to treat all those stakeholders. The plan has to clearly bring out all those aspects also. Then, as I said earlier, there are certain mandatory contents of the resolution plan which will be there in part 11. We'll discuss them. What are the sources of funds? So how the resolution applicant is going to fund it? What are his sources? So because, and why it is important? It is important because somebody may be giving a plan, but the plan may be only a paper plan. So obviously, if I am the resolution professional for a corporate debtor, if I have to review and okay a resolution plan, I'm going to examine everything with a magnifying glass कि ये resolution plan में जो जो दिया है क्या वो workable है, क्या वो possible है, क्या वो वाकई में होगा. Why? Because if I as a resolution professional accept a resolution plan which in the real life fails, that means remember, not only the resolution plan is failing, I am also failing as a resolution professional. So I have a responsibility, I have an obligation to ensure that the resolution plan is thoroughly scrutinized for each and everything. And as a resolution professional, it is my responsibility to check that everything is in order, everything is workable, everything is feasible. Then only I should move forward with it. So I would also examine, I would check as to where whatever money, and remember, I'm sure all of you have seen, so you have the resolution happening of Bhushan Steel, you have a resolution happening of SR Steel and Ruchi Soya, Alok Industries. So many companies have already gone through this process of a resolution plan. And we all know the amount, the size of amount involved runs into 25,000 crore, 40,000 crore, and so on and so forth. So if a resolution applicant is talking about those kind of amounts, as a resolution professional, it's better for me that I check myself, confirm and reconfirm as to whatever money that he is committing in his resolution plan. I must be 100% sure about as to all those funding is duly tied up. Because if that funding is not tied up, then it is going to make the resolution plan is going to hit the roadblock, and that should not happen, which is the obligation of the resolution professional. And term of resolution plan, and finally of course schedules. So whatever schedules with regard to all the informations which are covered here, those schedules will be coming as part at chapter 40. Now we look at all these chapters one by one. So friends, this is the chapter 1, and this is chapter 2. Chapter 1 is on definition, and it is quite understood by every one of us. We need not spend time on that. So chapter 2 is the executive summary of the resolution plan. क्या क्या आएगा इसमें? So first of all, amount of upfront payment to creditors has to be part of your executive summary. Balance repayment obligation to creditors. Proposed instruments for repayment. So in case if the resolution applicant plans to repay the outstanding to the financial creditor through some instrument, it may be a debt instrument, equity instrument, or whatever it may be, it has to be brought out in the executive summary. Interest rate, coupon and frequency of payment, repayment schedule, security, conversion terms for quasi equity instrument. So in case if the resolution applicant is proposing in his plan issue of quasi equity instrument, then those quasi equity instruments will be converted into equity at what period, and before they are converted, what is going to be the rate of interest, and things like that all will have to be part of the executive summary. Terms of equity being offered to tenders. So in case if equity is being offered to the lenders, then what are the terms of those equity? Amount of fresh equity proposed to be infused for improving operations of the company. So please remember friends, the obligation of the resolution applicant is not only to satisfy the obligations of the financial creditors and the operational creditors and the other creditors. Much more than that, he has got another obligation. And what is another obligation? Another obligation is to infuse fresh capital into the corporate debtor. And why infuse the fresh capital into the corporate debtor? Because the corporate debtor, the company which is undergoing the insolvency process, is suffering the working capital, is having certain capexes which are incomplete, or it needs certain capexes to be done afresh, so that there are the benefits of economies of scale and things like that. So the executive summary will also highlight as to what is the amount of fresh equity that the resolution applicant proposes to infuse for improving operations of the company. Then corporate guarantee or additional collateral security that may be offered by the resolution applicant has to be mentioned here in this chapter. Details of key management personnel of the resolution applicant, बहुत important है. देखिए ultimately the companies become sick because of the people, and companies become vibrant also because of the people, and therefore the executive summary will also cover the key management team of the resolution applicant that will be working on turnaround of this entity. So that is your chapter number 2. And some more information that you will have as part of the chapter number 2 is details of prior experience. So in case if the resolution applicant has already worked on this kind of assignments in the past or this kind of projects in the past, those also need to be incorporated to his advantage. So in case if the resolution applicant has already done something of this kind in the past, he has to mention that as part of the highlights executive summary, because it will help the resolution professional to form an opinion about the capability of the resolution applicant. In case if this resolution applicant has done something of this kind in past, either in India or abroad, and what has been the success story of those cases needs to be brought out, and what is the credit rating of the resolution applicant, that information is also got to be part of the executive summary, and for obvious reasons, because obviously resolution applicant got to be having a very high credit rating from the credit rating agencies, because that is an automatic parameter as far as his credibility and competencies are concerned. Other than that, in the executive summary, the resolution applicant will also have to talk about as to what does he plan to do. Giving a resolution plan is not enough. He also needs to bring out कि भाई वो what is he going to do that will ensure that the company will be turned around. Say for example, what are the proposed improvement he is suggesting in capacity utilization? What are the proposed improvement he is suggesting in the sales utilization or sales realization? How does he propose to improve the EBITDA in terms of per unit, EBITDA margin that is, and also EBITDA in totality? And remember, friends, EBITDA is the key. EBITDA is the key, because if EBITDA of a company starts improving and becoming strong, you can take it for granted that this company is already on its path to recovery, because EBITDA is your cash operating profit. So ultimately, what will ensure revival of an entity is the EBITDA. So he, in his executive summary, he also needs to mention as to how does he plan to improve the EBITDA margin. That means what does he plan to do so as to ensure that the selling price is increasing, and at the same time so as to ensure that the COGS is going down, and so as to ensure that SG&A is also going down. Remember, EBITDA margin can increase only when these three things are happening. So the resolution applicant will also have to mention in his executive summary as to what does he intend to do, जिसकी वजह से gross profit बढ़ेगा, जिसकी वजह से SG&A cost कम होगी. As a result of that, EBITDA will improve in totality and also in terms of per unit. Is he going to make any change in the technology? That is what he will have to talk about. What are the synergies that are there with the existing operations of the resolution applicant? बहुत critical है, बहुत crucial है, बहुत important. Synergy का मतलब क्या है? Synergy का मतलब ये है 1 + 1 is not equal to 2, 1 + 1 is equal to 11. So in the executive summary, resolution applicant will have to explain as to how, with his coming on the scene, there is going to be 1 + 1 is going to be equal to 11, and that is what he will need to do. And then of course he will have to mention as to how is he going to address the concerns of all these stakeholders. That's your chapter 2. Then of course we come to the chapter 3, profile of the resolution applicant. And in case of the profile of the resolution applicant, he will have to give all information about himself. कौन सा ग्रुप है, ग्रुप में कौन कौन सी कंपनियां हैं, कंपनियों का क्या क्या टर्नओवर है, कंपनी का मैनेजमेंट कौन है, कंपनी का बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर्स कौन है, सारी कंपनीज की की टीम कौन है, कौन कौन सी जियोग्राफीज में द ग्रुप इज ऑपरेटिंग, what is the corporate structure of the company, what is the shareholding of the company, what is the experience of the resolution applicant in the industry or in the sector in which the corporate debtor is. All these informations will need to be given in chapter 3 under the profile of the resolution applicant. And here again, he will need to mention as to what are the competitive advantage that the resolution applicant has, and what is the business rationale of the proposed resolution plan. मतलब क्या है, मतलब यह है कि resolution applicant को ऐसा क्या लगता है जिसकी वजह से he will be able to turn this corporate debtor around, and that is going to be information in chapter 3. So friends, what does it mean? It means कल जब आपको किसी कंपनी के लिए रेजोल्यूशन प्लान बनाना है तो आपको क्या करना है, आपको ये 14 चैप्टर के अंडर में आप जो रेजोल्यूशन प्लान बनाएंगे, सबसे पहले आपको क्या करना है, सबसे पहले आपको इंडेक्स बनानी है. इंडेक्स में क्या आएगा, इंडेक्स में वो 14 चैप्टर आ जाएंगे जो कि हमने शुरू में डिस्कस किए. एंड अंडर दोज डिफरेंट 14 चैप्टर्स you will need to furnish the information. And once you give all that information under those 14 chapters, by default, your resolution plan will be getting ready. Only two things that you have to remember, and what you need to remember number one, preparation of a resolution plan is not merely a formality, is not merely a document. Number two, what you need to remember, number two that you need to remember, number two that you need to remember, the resolution plan is the blueprint. Resolution plan is blueprint of what the resolution applicant has in his mind for turning this company around. And if I can add one more thing, resolution plan is commitment of the resolution applicant to this corporate debtor, that given approval of his resolution plan, he is going to do everything possible under the sun to ensure that this company is turned around. So that's your chapter 3 and the things that you will need to do when you are preparing a resolution plan by yourself. Then of course under chapter 4 he will give the summary proposal of the resolution applicant. And that's where what he would need to do is an overview of the amounts proposed to be paid by the paid towards the corporate insolvency resolution of the corporate debtor, such as what is the amount to be paid towards the CIRP cost, what is the amount to be paid to the operational creditors, what are the upfront cash recovery to the financial creditors, what is the upfront payment towards outstanding employee dues, and what is the fresh capital infusion. So chapter 6 will talk about these 5 things. Remember friends, I am sure many a times nowadays when we read Economic Times, there are headlines as to the financial creditors of the financial creditor of so-and-so corporate debtor have objected to the resolution plan of the resolution applicant because the amount of the upfront cash recovery to the financial creditors is not adequate. So where all that information is coming in the newspapers, it is coming from there. So that's your chapter 6, and that's where he will have to indicate as to what are the payments that he is going to make towards the corporate insolvency resolution of the corporate debtor. Under the chapter 7, friends, there are certain measures that need to be specified as per regulation 37 of the CIRP regulations. So now these are the mandatory requirements. So these are not I would say, now these are the things which will need to be there as to what are the measures that the resolution applicant is proposing for ensuring the resolution of the insolvency. So that means here in chapter 7 the resolution applicant will have to talk about as to, and remember this is very important, and please pay attention why this is very important, because based on whatever is asked for or committed by the resolution applicant. The resolution professional is going to get the approval of the COC. So whatever information is given in the resolution plan by the resolution applicant, based on that approval will come from the COC, and based on that approval from COC, the plan will go to the national NCLT, and NCLT will approve it. So therefore, whatever a resolution applicant is wanting, one is what he has to give, second is what he has to take to ensure that the resolution plan is balanced from his perspective. All that has to be very clearly brought out and mentioned in this chapter 7. Why? Because एक बार प्लान अप्रूव हो गया, फिर बाद में अगर वो कोई चीज़ याद आए कि अरे यार ये भी मुझे चाहिए था, it will be next to impossible. And that is why chapter 7 it becomes very important. So what informations will come in chapter 7? Transfer of all or part of the assets that the resolution applicant would like to happen, sale of all or part of the assets, restructuring of the corporate debtor. That means what does he intend to do? Does he intend to run the company as it stands today, or does he intend to merge this company with some other company, or does he intend to break this company into many strategic units and run them as separate company? So what is his plan? That is what will need to be mentioned here. Substantial acquisition of shares of the corporate debtor, cancellation or delisting. So in case if the resolution applicant is thinking in terms of getting these shares delisted, because that is what suits his plan, he will have to mention it here, because ultimately based on this the plan will go, the proposal will go to the NCLT, and NCLT will approve it. So whatever NCLT approves, that becomes the finality. So therefore, if he intends to do the cancellation or delisting of the shares, it has to be here. How will he be satisfying the security interest has to be brought out here. How will he be curing or waiving of any breach that may have taken has to be part of chapter 7. What is the amount of haircut he is expecting from the creditors has to be mentioned here. Does he intend to ask for any extension of any maturity date for any of the debt of the corporate debtor has to be here. Does he intend to amend the constitution document of the corporate debtor has to be here. Does he intend to issue securities of the corporate debtor for cash or whatever has to be mentioned here. Does he intend to change the portfolio of the goods or services has to be here, because ultimately whatever he is going to do has to be spelled out. Does he intend to bring any change in the technology of the corporate debtor has to be here. Obtaining necessary approvals also has to be here, and that is your chapter 7. Chapter 8 will talk about the business plan, and as I said earlier, very important. Business plan का मतलब क्या है? Business plan का मतलब है what is going to be your projected financial statements, what is going to be your projected profitability for next 5-10 years, what is going to be your projected balance sheet for next 5-10 years, what is going to be your cash flow statement for next 5-10 years. And that means what? That means it's not an Excel sheet that you have to give here. You have to give here a document which is so much authenticated, which is so much strong, that this must kind of be a future plan. So that business plan has to be here as part of chapter 8. Or here the resolution applicant also has to mention as to what are the assumptions, what are the basis on which he has prepared this business plan. Remember, business plan is extremely critical, because सारा resolution plan depend करेगा कि आपका business plan कितना feasible है, कितना workable है. अगर आपका business plan fail होगा तो आपका पूरा resolution plan भी fail होगा. And therefore, not only the resolution applicant has to spend enough time here in preparation of the business plan, but the resolution professional also will have to spend enough time and ensure that everything which is given here is thoroughly validated. The chapter 9 will talk in terms of term, implementation schedule, and monitoring of the resolution plan. So what are the terms of the resolution plan? What is the term? That means कितने टाइम में होगा. Implementation schedule क्या है? So from the time the plan is approved by the NCLT, what is going to be the way forward, what are going to be the milestones, what are going to be the landmarks. So all that will need to be brought out. So whatever approvals are to be required, step by step timeline will need to be given as part of your chapter 9. And then what treatment will be given by the resolution applicant to different stakeholders. So insolvency resolution process की cost, how is he going to treat, workmen and employees के dues, how is he going to handle, financial creditors, how is he going to take care, operational creditors, how is he going to take care, shareholders, how is he going to take care, and other creditors. So in chapter 10 he will have to specifically mention all this. So which means, friends, remember, when I say he, that means you, that means tomorrow when you are making a resolution plan, this is what you and I will have to do. So if you have to prepare a resolution plan, this is what you will have to do. If I have to prepare a resolution plan, this is what I have to do. That means मेरे chapter 10 में ये सारी information मुझे incorporate करनी होंगी. Then these are the mandatory contents of the resolution plan. So as specified in regulation, different regulations of the CIRP regulations. So what are the amount due to the operational creditors will need to be mentioned, term plan will need to be mentioned, management and control, what are the means for supervision. So approval is fine, but it does not stop at that. The implementation has to start. If the implementation has to start, how is it going to be monitored? So the monitoring committee will need to be formed. Maybe the board of directors will need to be reconstituted. So all those plans will need to be done. Compliance with the provisions will need to be done. How the resolution applicant intend to do all this, and these are the mandatory requirements. So chapter 11 of your resolution plan will need to incorporate all these details. And then of course he will also need to indicate the sources of funds. As I said earlier, it's not enough that you are giving a resolution plan. You also need to mention as to how are you going to raise those funds, where those funds are going to come. And because unless and until as a resolution professional I know where the money is going to come, I will not be able to put too much of faith and confidence in that resolution plan. Then of course you will have the terms of the resolution plan. Different terms will need to be incorporated. And finally, friends, you will have the schedule, the chapter 14, and the chapter 14 will have the all the schedules of all the informations that you have incorporated in all these 13 chapters that you would like to further support with the annexures and things like that. So friends, this is the entire process of preparing a resolution plan. I'm sure, friends, this must have given you a fairly good understanding. I'm sure, friends, with this session, you would be able to have a very strong hold and confidence in making a resolution plan. Not only in making a resolution plan, in case that is in case if you are working on behalf of a resolution applicant, but also review a resolution plan in case if you are appointed as a resolution professional for a corporate entity. So I'm sure with this, friend, we would come to the close of this session, which is on how to prepare a resolution plan. Though the title is how to prepare the resolution plan, but really speaking, it is also how to review a resolution plan. And finally, friends, what I would like to share with you is remember, resolution plan has to be comprehensive. And what may be the driver of a resolution applicant? एक सवाल जो आपके दिमाग में आया होगा, आना चाहिए, वो ये कि एक कंपनी जो कि बंद होने के कगार पर है, why should somebody be interested in putting his money into this company? And that is the reason for which we need a resolution plan. Because resolution plans does what? Resolution plan removes the flab in the business, in the corporate data, wherever it is possible. It removes all the wastages and it cuts the corporate debtor into size which is fit enough, fine enough, as much as कि ये जो resolution applicant who is putting his money into this corporate debtor, this resolution applicant is able to earn a return which is much more than his cost of capital. So not only he will earn a return which is much more than his cost of capital, but he is also going to get return over the years in terms of capital appreciation. So this will be the driver of the resolution applicant. Friends, before I close, of course I will take the questions, and before I request Krishna to read out in case if there are any questions. All these video recordings are available on the Facebook page or YouTube page of PCET's Pune Business School. So in case if you have missed any of the video sessions or any of the past sessions, you can go to the Facebook page of PCET's Pune Business School. They are also available on the YouTube channel, and they are available with all the PPTs. So whatever you are seeing on the screen, exactly it is available on the Facebook of Pune Business School. So you can please go there. And just to share with you, friends, these are the two books which I have authored, because I keep receiving a lot of inquiries as to what are the books that I have authored. So these are the two books I have authored that you see on the screen. पहली बुक का नाम है You Are a Born Winner. So this book will help you in excelling your life. And second book's title is Value Creation, and this will help you in excelling in business and profession. So Krishna, with this I come to the close of the session. Thank you, Krishna. Thank you, PCET and Pune Business School. Thank you all the participants. If there are any questions, I would be very happy to take them. Thank you so much, friends. Thank you.